You are experiencing shocking moves in the precious metals markets. Unbelievable news, in particular about silver. We're going to cover all of it in this live stream video. We've got unbelievable prediction for 2026 from a giant Swiss bank. We're going to hear about what's going on at the LBMA. We're going to talk about growing concern with China. Wait till you hear that. And the grand wizard of gold now has something very interesting to tell us about silver. And there's a lot more, including, I don't think I put it in the thumbnail, $196 silver. We'll get to that after we talk about the most important thing. And that's you. Thank you for joining us down here in the basement. Hope you feel like you found a little precious metals community home away from home. It's a big deal when you give us your time. Thank you very much. Please press the subscribe button. There's a little bell thing next to it. If you press that, you'll get notified every time we go live. Leave a comment in the comment section. You don't have to agree with me. That's how we all learn, is from you. We want to hear from you. Now, let's get started. Let's go look at the market first. Did you notice today was a very interesting day in the silver market? We were red, we were green, we were red, but guess what? I think we wound up being green. Let's go out to our friends at CNBC and take a look at the silver chart. This is a 5-day chart of silver, and I want to draw your attention to one thing. If we go back just 5 days ago, the silver price in the futures market was $52 per ounce. Today, you see it right there. We are at 59. The silver price in 5 days has gone from 52 to $59. I think it's going to over $100, $200. I think it's going to infinity. But nonetheless, we have to be realistic here. We may be in for a little bit of a pullback, but it gets even more interesting if we pull up the 6-month chart. We can see it real clearly. Let's get out the virtual crayons and quickly review a few things for which we can be very, hold on. There we go. Very encouraged by. I'm going to draw a line right here, which is roughly, let's say, $52, $53 per ounce. Don't forget, guys, okay, a couple key things happened in the last days and also the last couple of months. Number one, we had a short-term high that we bumped up against. I think it was 54, 55. We did it again not too long ago, probably about 2 weeks ago. And this right here, just this week, we broke through that level. Okay, if we'd have hit it again and gone down, that would have been a triple top, okay, which would be extremely rare. But I think at this point, it's very safe for us to say that we've broken through it. The other thing to remember on this chart is that we have a little cup and handle, a little miniature cup and handle, a little mini teacup. I mean, it's beautiful. Look at that, okay? And when we look at this chart, this level up here, everybody is in the green on silver right now. That is so critical. There is nobody out there right now that owns physical silver who's crying in their dinner, their meatloaf, whatever you might be having for dinner. No, pretty much everybody is in the green, and people are feeling very good about silver. Not just individual retail investors like you and me, but even big institutional investors. And we're going to now, I haven't even started yet. We got a ton to cover in this video, but what that means is there's no overhead resistance. There's no person out there who's saying, I bought silver for $65 an ounce and I'm going to sell it once it ever gets back there. All those people sold over the last 6 months to a year. All those people that said, I bought silver at $44 an ounce. It was the worst decision I ever made. If it ever gets back there, I'm going to get my money back. That guy sold, or that woman, if it was a woman, whatever. You know what I'm saying. Now everybody is in the green. There's very little overhead resistance. The sellers already sold. And as we've talked about ad nauseum, this move that we've had in silver over the last 12 to 18 months has not been an adrenaline fueled spike or a frenzy driven spike or a paper market, like the COMEX and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. We're going to talk about them later. No. This has been a physical driven rally in the price of silver that's so critical. Now let's talk about. I'm getting better. I didn't even tease you about $196 silver, huh? Oh, let's look at some interesting data. We're going to fly through a bunch of crazy information right now, crazy good information. And there's a chart we're going to look at here. This came from our friends over at Metals and Miners Substack. Silver's $196 destiny. The same force that pushed gold past its inflation-adjusted high in 2025 is coming for silver. Wait till you see this chart. Precious metals are on the move again. Silver made new nominal high on Friday, which was followed through exceeding $57, but it's still a long way from its inflation-adjusted high of almost $150 in 1980. Gold, on the other hand, has already clearly eclipsed the 1980 real high. So this chart, let's see if I can pull this up, nope, that doesn't make it better. That makes it worse. Sorry, guys. What this chart shows us, and they've already got a few things circled, is gold on the bottom. When you adjust the price of gold for inflation, it says it on here, right there, CPI adjusted data. Hold on one second. I'm having some tech issues. There we go. When you look at gold, you look at the 1980 high, you look at the 2011 high. Now we've way broken through that. Again, this is inflation adjusted data. Okay. When you look at silver, hold on here, get rid of all that. Silver's a different story. Silver reached about $150 in today's dollars versus the current price. This is the inflation adjusted high of the 1980 down here high in silver. And to put things into perspective, here's 2011. Okay. We still have not broke through these levels. We've got a long way to go. And again, right, look at what gold has done. And silver always follows gold. And we know the fundamental reasons, which we could talk about us together here for the next hour, that silver is even a more attractive investment now from a fundamental perspective than it likely was in 2011 or 1980. But I highlighted these two paragraphs using the U.S. government's own official, and notoriously understated inflation data. The 1980 peak of 50 is worth $196 in today's money. Again, gold has already clearly eclipsed their inflation adjusted high. We got a long way to go. And I thought this was shocking because in red, that means that even after its recent run, silver is only about 29% of the way to its real inflation adjusted all-time high. We're only not even 1/3 of the way to its inflation adjusted high. It's absolutely crazy what's happening right now. Let's go to the next interesting piece of data. This I found shocking. I don't know if you realized this was going on, but the Kobesi letter, one of the most respected like kind of econ names out there, they cover all the economy related news stories, is saying it's official. Silver is now set to post its first 12-month candlestick with a 100% gain. That would be if we made it through the month of December, even roughly where we are now, since 1979. This does not happen in normal quote unquote markets. And remember, the 1979 gain, and there's a look at it right there. These are candlesticks. They measure the open versus the close. This is projected for 2025. There's the big, right there, the big green candlestick. We had the same thing back in 1979. But remember, the 1979 run-up in the price of silver was primarily caused by the Hunt brothers trying to corner the silver market. Again, I'll repeat for you, as Keith Neumeyer recently said during an interview, this silver rally is based more on physical demand, not paper manipulation. It's the fact that the price is going up is because the physical markets are dislocating from the paper markets. Okay, next up. Hold on, let me say hello to you. Thank you guys for being here. We got a lot more to cover, including UBS, interesting developments for 2026 next year. But before we do that, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mint. Thank you, Susie. I got a super chat. I'll recognize that in 1 second. Thank you, First Mint, for sponsoring Ron's Basement, letting us all come together. And great feedback. Great. I don't know. It's been 5-6 months now that First Mint's been sponsoring my gold and silver content. You guys have loved your experience. It's a premium experience with First Mint. The packaging, the quality of the products, okay? They're owned by First Majestic Silver, who mines the silver in Mexico, sends it to Las Vegas, Nevada, to First Mint, who creates these world-class silver bullion products, and then it gets shipped to you. And I mean, it's a premium experience. The packaging, everything is truly second to none. They're having a Cyber Monday sale on cast silver bars, $1 over spot. You can check that out. Let me show you their website real quickly, and then we're going to get back to these interesting developments in the silver market. And here we go. Firstmint.com, free shipping on orders over $299. And you can look here, go to their store. They've got bars, they've got rounds, they've got accessories, and they have their Folds of Honor campaign, which we've talked about as well. Benefits the Folds of Honor Foundation. There's the Cyber Monday sale. So please check them out, guys. You'll be glad that you did. Now, what's next? China's taking over the world of precious metals. 1.4 billion people. Don't worry, we're not even going to talk about India today. That's a whole different story and just as encouraging. But we got some interesting data out of China on the silver price. It's happening again. Let's go over here and boom. Here we go. Yes, Hansa. Right? Another guy who's getting a lot of attention in the precious metals sector says this: silver looking strong. China just published their $59 an ounce Shanghai Futures Exchange price, while the West is sitting at 57.08. The difference between the price of silver in China and the West is again starting to get stretched out. And what's critical, the reason why we follow this, why you want to pay attention to this so closely, is because China's market is a much more physical market. They don't have that 358 to 1, right, paper to real ratio like we do. No, it's much more closer to 1 to 1. He says in purple, this is what happens, again, like we talked about, when physical demand leads and the paper markets are trying to keep the lid on. The physical demand is now starting to set the pace for the price of silver. Many of us, including you, have maybe waited for this for decades, but it's happening. And it says as long as China trades higher than the COMEX and the LBMA, the pressure keeps building. And there's the latest data from the Oriental Ghost that we had as of yesterday from the Chinese market. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight in the Chinese market, but it's getting interesting. And we do know this from our friend the Dude. It's coming at us, guys. Silver gone, like the thumbnail for this video says. The silver market traded 785 million paper ounces yesterday. That would have been yesterday, Monday. Okay. He says, do we get to $60 by the end of the week, or do we pull back from all-time highs? It'll be interesting to see how this, I don't know what you're thinking on this. You know, we could get to $60 by the end of the week. I'd say we're either going to be at 60 or 55. But guys, remember something critical. Just 3 weeks ago, we were down here talking about the fact that silver was likely going to form a new base, a new consolidation area around $45 per ounce. And even if it went to $40 per ounce, that we would still be okay. But things have changed quickly. It's happening. It's even surprising me. And I'm one of the biggest silver bulls that's out there. He says in red, inflation adjusted high from 1980 suggests we should be at $200 an ounce. We talked about that earlier. It's getting very, very interesting. We are going to talk about UBS, the big giant Swiss bank. They said something really interesting, really critical for all of us silver investors. And we're gonna listen to the gold wizard himself, the wizard of gold, now saying something crazy interesting about silver. Before we do that, speaking of gold, I do want to say thank you to First Mining Gold. They're a development stage gold company in Canada. Look, they've got two huge projects in Canada, millions of ounces of gold in the ground in Canada being worked through the development stage, the permitting stage, the development stage. But we know the gold is there. I've owned the stock long before they sponsored my channel. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. But I can tell you this, there aren't a lot of big multi-million ounce gold development stage projects in Canada. And the big gold mining companies are looking to refill their pipelines and grow. And there just aren't a lot of viable options in favorable jurisdictions. You can learn more about First Mining Gold at firstmininggold.com. Now, let's go on. Let's listen to what the gold was. Make sure there's so much going on. It's hard to keep track of all this. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your understanding as we try to get through all of this critical information. Let's listen to the gold wizard. There's a guy, Egon von Mars. I'm going to pull it up right now. I've followed him for decades. Okay. He's with Gold Switzerland, super respected. I call him the gold wizard, right? Because he's just a smart guy who's been in the metals for a long time. He's been a big gold guy. He's never been anti-silver, but listen to what he's now saying about silver. We're going to listen to a few moments of his recent input on silver. Let's give him full screen treatment. There he is. All right, let's listen.
In the life of an investor, there seldom occurs opportunities which are totally unique. Right now, we're standing in front.
Did you hear what he said? In the life of an investor, there's very few opportunities that are totally unique. Let me make sure you got the audio, which you do. Okay, I won't interrupt you anymore, Egon. All right, here we go.
So, a historic event, and that historic event is going to take place in silver. From our point of view, we've always been interested in precious metals for the last 25 years, simply for the reason of wealth preservation. We recommended to investors in 2002 to buy gold at $300 at the time to hold it for long-term wealth preservation purposes. Obviously, they had to buy physical gold. Now, in the beginning of our precious metals investment period, we did not recommend silver because of its high volatility. And we had investors normally around 25% of silver. We have increased that percentage the last couple of years to 30% or more for the simple.
Okay, guys, did you hear what he just said? Allow me to repeat it for you. In the life of an investor, there's like a few once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. And he, who's been a precious metals analyst for decades, is now seeing silver as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Again, do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, but when I heard Egon say that, that really lit me up. It's coming at us from all directions. All right, let's get into UBS and what they're saying about silver. Also, we're going to do a little rundown on what's happening at the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. Hey, don't forget, if you need a great Christmas gift idea for somebody you know who might be a stacker or have other valuables, please check out right there. There it is right there, Dirty Man Safe. Here, I've got one I can show you super quickly before we get into it. This is their small Dirty Man. There is a discount code, RON10. You bury these in the ground. Super cool. I've had this down here now for almost a year. These things, when I first got it, I was impressed, right? Just the build quality and what they do and what they allow you to do, which is to store valuables, just like the pirates did back in the ancient times. And it's worked pretty well for centuries and centuries in the ground, safe from fire, flood, all forms of natural disaster. You get to be like a pirate. Don't forget, right? There's a link in the description of the video, but use the discount code RON10. They've even got a new micro, they call it crypto edition, even a smaller one, but you could put a lot of gold in that. I'm just saying, just don't tell anybody where you hide it except for one trusted person. Let's go out, check this out, and then we're going to get straight to UBS. Here we go. Just so we remember, Gold Silver HQ said it's official. Silver is now up more than 100%. Guys, silver is up. Silver has doubled this year. Congrats, fellow stackers. That's you, right? Our patience has paid off. The next doubling could happen faster. And that's something we need to chat about. Yes, right. We could get now an acceleration in the up move on the price of silver as we just start to get, because, there's this group of people out there, and it would be almost everybody except you and me, right, that haven't really been turned on to silver. Look, I'll tell you a quick story. I've loved silver for years. It was frustrating. I would go to my neighborhood pool, right, and I'd always want to talk about silver with my neighbors. But as soon as I started talking about silver or gold, they would swim away in the pool. And it's not just them, it's all Americans, right? That pretty much 98% of people out there that have not yet paid attention to precious metals. When they come to the party, when they want to get in the silver and gold lifeboat with us, we've already floated away from the Titanic, right? Those people we affectionately refer to as the meh, meh. That's not a very good one. Hold on. Meh. The sheeple. It's going to be very interesting. All right, let's go to UBS. It's a giant Swiss bank, right? Remember the Swiss bank accounts when we were kids? Well, UBS is a giant Swiss bank, and they've got something interesting to tell us about. Oh, okay. I will get to the super chats at the end. Let me get to UBS here. Is this working? Hold on. There we go. This comes from Jensen Economic Precious Metals and Markets newsletter. Okay, UBS has increased its estimate of the 2026, next year, silver supply deficit to almost 300 million ounces, and says it favors being long. The reason that is so important is because when there's a deficit in silver, when the world is consuming more silver than the mining companies can produce, that silver is coming from the Silver Rainy Day Fund. That's coming from Grandma's tea set. That's coming from the above ground resources. It's the Rainy Day Fund. But guess what, guys? Rainy Day funds, they run out. So the fact that they're now projecting and they're saying it favors being long is a very, very good thing. We're getting even some more extreme examples that we'll be covering in future video segments regarding the silver deficit and higher even numbers. But 300 million ounces. Now, I want you to think about one more important thing when we think about that, right? That 300 million, again, is coming from the silver above ground rainy day fund. The mining companies, their output has been going down. It's been in a downward trend. I've heard even for the last 10 years, well, since 2016. It's hard to believe that's been almost 10 years. But the amount of silver coming out of the ground has been going down, trending downwards. And the other thing, as we've talked about many times, but we want to remember because it's critical to this, right? There's been very little investment put into basically building new silver mines. All the work, the exploration, the development, and as an extra added bonus on top, it takes about 10 years, 15 years from the time if a new silver deposit is discovered to get through all the permitting, all the work that's necessary to actually start mining. And right during that time, so what that means is during that, even if the silver price goes to $200 in the next year, they can't just flip a switch and start making more silver. And then let's cover here quickly just this yellow part. This is about the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, and they are in a little trouble because their just-in-time silver operation has a little problem. The silver market, when the London silver market seized for 1.5 hours on October 10th due to a lack of silver availability, it revealed to the world that the bottom of London's publicly traded available silver stock occurred with 140 million ounces. Again, right, we're looking at a deficit next year of more than twice that of silver remaining in London vaults that were not held by exchange-traded funds. Yeah, they've got a lot more silver in their vaults, but most of it is accounted for, is already claimed for, owned by the big ETFs. Importantly, it let everyone know that London's silver market is functioning on a just-in-time system for silver delivery, where silver can be delivered to the billions of ounces cash spot contracts open in London, but only if such metal is first delivered to London, meaning they're on a just-in-time system. If people want the silver, then they have to get it from somewhere else. And we know there's been a little bit more than speculation showing that a lot of that silver was shipped over from the United States, from New York, and that possibly, quite likely, some of it came from Shanghai, from China, because we know the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Shanghai all their vaults are near historic lows. Nobody has silver, guys. Silver is gone. That's what the thumbnail for this video said. Last paragraph. It likely came as news to many holders of these immediate ownership and delivery cash contracts for silver that the London market was tapped out and stood cap in hand. I can see the LBMA boys and girls with their caps off, cap in hand, awaiting for delivery. All right, guys, let's go out. I want to say thank you for the super chats. Let me see if I can get those pulled up here. Yeah, wow, super chats. Thank you. Hold on here. See if I can read this. My eyes are getting bad. Okay, Happy Life, Egrap, thank you for the super chat. And I'm that is from GRNTHM1 and Carl. Thank you, Carl, for the super chat. Carl Miller, thank you. Okay, thank you for being here, guys. Super chats are always super appreciated, never super expected. We got over 1,000 people. I just looked. Wow, incredible.
227 mics. Maybe ring the gong or something.
Okay, and for those of you who are new, this is my lovely wife and assistant upstairs, Susie. She loves to give you silver stackers a high five. She also loves when you subscribe. When you subscribe, upstairs, Susie gives you a high five. No, let me say, I want to talk about this. We got more and more people, over 1,000 people. That's important because that shows more and more people are coming to the silver and gold sector. And it's just starting. It's just starting in the United States, in Europe, in the West. Guys, look, I want to give you some kudos, right? You are part of an elite group of people that understand the timeless nature of silver and gold. I was thinking about this earlier, about like, if you think back, I'm 55 years old. 45 years ago when I was 10 years old, and I'm sitting there with paper money. I could either have paper money in one hand, right? These things, fiat paper money, or I could be sitting there with some silver in my hand. It's so clear, right? This has gone on for decades and millennium. What you're part of an elite group, and I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to ring the golden gong because we got a record crowd tonight. 200 thumbs up. Hey, this is one of our rituals. And no, it's not made out of gold. I just call it the golden gong, but hey, it works. All right, thanks for being here. I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time. We're on a great ride together. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you, yes, you, next time. Have a great night.